So we're here tonight for YouTube hacks to grow your channel organically. If you're here to learn about YouTube, you're in the right spot. So picture this, about 4 years ago, I'm in my minivan and the clock is off by an hour, daylight savings. And I don't know how it is in your car, but in mine you need an engineering degree to change the clock. Right, you need to be able to turn 3 buttons at the same time, they press the pedal. I mean, how do you do this? So I'm really frustrated, reach in the glove compartment, learn how to do it, and I make a video of this, me changing the clock in my minivan, which is what you're looking at right now, this 31-second of pure video beauty. And it's actually, no, it's horrible. There's no lights, the sound is awful, and then I upload that video on YouTube and forget about it. Ultimately, I make that video for me, so 6 months later, I would remember how to do it. I wouldn't have to look in the manual. And 6 months later, I pull it up, and this is what I found. Over 38,000 views of people that have watched my video, and all kinds of great comments. People actually loved that video. But you have to get the context. At the time, I had 3 or 4 videos on my channel, and one of them, with the most views, had 17 views. Which probably 12 of those views were me trying to, rewatch my video and whatnot. So that completely blew my mind. My question then became, so what triggers the YouTube algorithm? Because I wanted to repeat that success. In this presentation, I'm going to basically give you 4 main things. The first one is, how do you dominate on YouTube? How are you going to get your videos to dominate? The second one is, how do you connect meaningfully with people when they watch your videos? Then I'm going to give you proven methodologies on how to actually get your YouTube videos to rank. And then obviously, I'm going to give you some stuff that you're going to comply with the rules, because the last thing you want to do is be banned by YouTube by doing things that are unethical. Let's talk, before we go into the nuts and bolts of this presentation, let's talk about common misconceptions about YouTube. And the biggest one by far is that it's all about subscribers. And that couldn't be further from the truth. The subscribers, to a certain degree, is completely irrelevant if you want to grow. Subscribers are only there to boost your ego. I love my subscribers. I love the fact that I have, right to date, 8,300 subscribers. It feels great. The problem is it doesn't mean anything. Whether I have 8,300 subscribers or I have 100 subscribers, from YouTube's standpoint, it means absolutely nothing. So your quest shouldn't be, how many subscribers can I have? Although it's a measuring stick, I'd like to have a channel that has 1 million subscribers, but that's not really the measuring stick. This is not what you should be looking for. What you want to think about is, you want to think about your viewers. It's really all about them. It's not about how many subscribers you have, but it's about the audience on the other side. Them. That's what's important. So understanding the algorithm. So in essence, I'm going to give you really the 2 big things you need to understand with the YouTube algorithm. And the first one is that they're trying to predict what you're going to enjoy. That's their job. I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when you go on YouTube and you start viewing some content about a specific musician, or you're following the Joe Rogan podcast, then all of a sudden in your feed you have all kinds of videos about Joe Rogan. Because what YouTube wants to do, it wants to make sure that it's going to serve you content that you're going to enjoy. And the second thing that YouTube wants to do is it wants to keep you on the platform as long as they can. They want you to stay on the platform for a long time. They don't want you to watch a video and then go on to something else, right? Which is probably one of the reasons why YouTube will favor long-form videos over short videos. Right, and I'm going to be talking about that further in the presentation. So the first hack that I'm going to talk to you tonight is, you need to identify your audience. If you want to pursue a YouTube channel and you want to grow it, step one, you need to identify your audience. You need to be super clear as who your audience is. It starts with them. And by the way, when I ask people, I ask them when they have a channel, who's your target market? And they're like, people? And I'm like, no, that's not a target audience. People is not a target audience, right? You want to think about them in terms of who are they? What do they like? You know, like really be super clear. Let me give you a couple of examples of what I think a good target audience is. So for example, female between the age of 25 to 45. They're sales and marketing execs. They're in North America. They're looking for inspiration and thought leadership for career growth. That's a target market. Now, if you have something like that, then you know exactly the type of content you're going to create, and your content is going to be directly built for those people. And that is super important, because if you don't do that and you just create general content for the general public, the chances of your YouTube channel working is slim to none. Let me give you a second one, right? For example, male, 35 to 55, business owners in the Boston area. Geographical area targeting in YouTube is awesome. There's a real estate guy in Maryland. That's all he wants to focus. He doesn't care about any other state. So he does the best restaurants in Maryland, the best parks in Maryland, the best places to buy a house in Maryland. Everything he does is about Maryland real estate. What are the chances of this guy actually owning that space and really being good? It's really, really awesome. So, you know, again, people looking for how-to and practical tips to grow their business. That is highly focused. Now you know exactly the type of content you're going to do, and it starts with them in mind. And now you want to know, you need to figure out, what do they want? What do they need? Why do they need it? I know you have some questions and you're probably wondering, like, how do I figure out the type of content I need to produce? Well, you need to reverse engineer your content. And there are several tools that are very easy and very accessible for you to work with. The first one is a tool that is not free, but it's a great tool. I believe it's about close to $100 a month. It's SEMrush, specifically the Keyword Magic tool. That's a great tool, because it will give you all the questions. You basically put in a keyword, like for example, video marketing, and it will tell you all the questions that people are asking around video marketing. Or real estate. You can put real estate, and it's going to tell you all the questions that people are asking on the internet right now around that specific keyword. That's really awesome to reverse engineer your content. Now there's another one, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's really an awesome tool. Who has heard of AnswerThePublic.com? I have the marketer here in the room, thank you very much. AnswerThePublic.com is absolutely awesome. Please write this down. You're gonna go and check it out tonight. This is the website, it looks like this. You basically go, you put in your keyword and you click Get Questions, and it will give you all the questions. It is right now free. I don't believe that it's going to be free forever, because everywhere I go I actually talk about Answer the Public, and everywhere I go I see other speakers talking about Answer the Public. So it's going to become big, and I'm sure at one point they're going to charge. But right now, especially if you have like one or two keywords you'd like to find out what people want to know about this, well, go and use it, because you can download the list of questions that people are asking around a specific keyword, and that by itself is a treasure trove of information. Obviously, if you want to grow in YouTube, there's a couple of tools out there. This is TubeBuddy. This is what you see on the left-hand side, the red box. There's another one called vidIQ. They're very similar. If you want to get both, get them both. I use TubeBuddy. I like it. It tells me everything I want, but specifically it's going to help you with formulating the question or looking for content that people are looking for. But specifically in that tool, it's going to see, if you see in the upper right hand corner, it says the overall is good, which means that you are going to produce a video with content that is not super competitive. Right? Because YouTube is huge. I don't remember how many videos are uploaded per minute, but it's absolutely ginormous. And the last thing you want to do is go and compete with a video that is like, you know, it's got 1 million results for that video. The Pew Research Center just recently did a study on YouTube, and they've uncovered that 51% of all content searched on YouTube is how-to related. Now let me say that again, because I think this is madly important. 51% of all content searched on YouTube is how-to content. Now raise your hand if you actually have gone on YouTube in the last 30 days to look for how-to content. Raise your hand. Look around. This is not for me. Who has done it in the last 7 days? Who's doing it right now? Please stop. Right? So that's the thing. I mean, it's just, that's what we go to YouTube for how-to content. You know what was the second result? The second result was 19%, and that was for entertainment. So 51% is over half of all the searches on YouTube is how-to. Do you think it might be mildly important for you to create some how-to content if you want to be successful on YouTube? Yeah, the answer is a big yes. Now let's move on to the second hack to grow organically on YouTube. And your number one traffic source on YouTube should be suggested videos. That should be your number one traffic source on YouTube. Now this is the graph, this is how it looks inside of YouTube, and look at this one. 61.3% of all results of all the traffic is out of suggested content, which means that YouTube is doing the work for me. Like YouTube is suggesting my content. All I'm doing is I'm putting content and I'm like, okay, I'm done. And YouTube takes it and it says, oh, this is good content. Let me start to show it. And 61.3% of YouTube is doing the work for me. Is that a good deal? Yeah, that is a great deal. This is what you should be aiming for. If you have a YouTube channel, go and take a look at your stats and look at the suggested video. Your game is to raise this above 50%. If you haven't done the work, sometime I see it on channels at 5, 6, 7%, which is really low, which means that we need to go and fix a whole bunch of stuff. And it also means that you have not given the signals to YouTube that your content is interesting, entertaining, and educational. So YouTube is like, well, I don't know what I want to do. But if you actually are giving the signals to YouTube and saying, my content is educational, entertaining, and interesting, YouTube will do the work for you. And that's an amazing, amazing feature of YouTube. Okay, that's great, Antoine, but how do I do that? So I'm going to give you the steps to actually get your videos to be suggested by YouTube. So number one, the number one secret is you need to have a decent video with good content. Did I say that your video needed to be an amazing video? I didn't say that. I said it needs to be decent. What is decent? Means is that decent lighting, decent sound, and it looks okay. It doesn't have to be amazing. It has to be decent and good content. Did I say great content? Did I say like extraordinary content? No, I said good content. A decent video with good content. This is what you need to have. And the reason why I do this and I do that as first step, because I cannot tell you the number of times where I go and see people and I see their channel and it says it's not working, I don't understand why, and I look at the video and it's not decent. They actually suck. And it's not bad. You know, my first video sucked, but it's like you gotta start there. There's no hacks or tricks or tactics that is going to help a shitty video. That's just the thing. Like, you gotta look at it objectively. I know we all love our stuff. You know, you do a video, you're proud of it, and you look at it, but you have to look at it objectively. And by the way, if none of the stats that YouTube is given, for example, that it's not being suggested, but one of the first things we want to look at is like, well, let's look at the video. And sometimes it's just not that great. But that's actually, it's a good news, because YouTube is telling you that it's not good because it's not giving you good ratings, and all it is like, okay, well, what can I do to make it better? Right? So by the way, there is a gazillion how to make great videos or make good videos on YouTube. So there's tons of education if you want to grow there, okay? All right, number 2 is YouTube is a search engine. It's not a video library, it's a search engine. That's what it is. And it's the second largest search engine in the world after Google. So you have Google, and then you have YouTube. And then far behind over there you have Bing. Why are they still there, by the way, Bing? Really, seriously. Right? And YouTube is owned by Google. The fact that once people have a good video with decent video with good content, do not optimize the title of their video, that's crazy. You need to optimize the title of your video. You need to think like an SEO guy. Like it's got to be keyword rich. It's got to be a question that people are asking. You have to optimize the title of your video. That is like, I actually had a video that took off. And the only thing I'd done right in that video was the title had proper SEO. I didn't think the video was decent. There was a whole bunch of stuff about it that wasn't great, but the title was great and people were looking for that and it answered the question they had. Video took off. Now the third one, and I'm using language here, so I have the children. You understand kick-ass, right? It's not too bad. All right. It's not bad. It's part of my French, by the way. The third one is a kick-ass thumbnail. We are not spending enough time, collectively, we're not spending way enough time on our thumbnails. The thumbnails is so much more important than you think. You need to be spending a lot more time on thumbnails. Like have your thumbnails really great. Let me show you some examples of great thumbnails. That's people that spend the time. They spend the time and the energy to create a great thumbnails. Because guess what? The vast majority of people making a decision on watching your video is going to be based on this and nothing else. It doesn't matter how good your video is, how decent the content is. It doesn't matter. If your thumbnails suck, they're not going to click on it because you're not going to be the only choice. They're going to have 10 other videos to choose. So the quality of your thumbnail is super important. And if you look at this, how many words do they have? 4 or 5. Not a lot of words. Can you see the people's eyes? Can you connect with them? Can you have a sense of who they are just by looking at that? Yeah, and it pops and it's there and it works. All right, the fourth thing is the description of your video and the tags that you're using. The description, again, YouTube is a search engine, right? So if you're not capitalizing on a box of content that YouTube is giving you to actually insert some content that relates to the video, well, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. Do you follow what I'm saying? I mean, at least the first sentence or paragraph in the video should be descriptive of what this video is about. And you can basically describe it. But I would suggest to all of you is have your content being suggested after a thought leader that you admire, as opposed to trying to be the number one. Like, after which video could you be suggested? I'm giving you some examples that you could look up to instead of trying to be number one, but just saying, you know what, there's someone in my space that actually talks to an audience that is like me, and that person is close to me enough that I would like to have my video suggested after theirs. Does that make sense? And one of the things that I've seen, and I just consulted with a client recently about the tags. There is I just skipped over the tags, but the tags is some of the stuff that you can add to a video, so it's more like keyword rich that you can add, which are help YouTube basically serve your video to the right audience. So it's just called tags, and it's something that TubeBuddy actually does a great job at helping you getting the right tags for your thing. So TubeBuddy's, it's worth its money just for that, in my opinion. But that person had the tag hashtag Gary V in the tags, and I asked him and I says, why do you have hashtag Gary? Does everybody knows Gary Vaynerchuk? Raise your hand if you don't know him. Okay, so Gary Vaynerchuk is a very brash, New Jersey, New York, marketer, in your face, hustle, shut the F up, get off your butt, get it done like that, right? So it's very, it's the guy talks straight. There is no sugarcoating Gary Vaynerchuk, okay? And this guy was, he's actually more the Bill Nye science guy. He wears a bow tie on stage, and he's very smart and very quirky. And I was like, why are you choosing Gary V as a tag? And he said, well, I figure that if they like Gary V's video, they'll enjoy mine. And I'm like, okay. And you're also using that because Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V, is very, very popular. And I'm like, okay, but the problem that I have with this is that I don't see his audience relate to you at all. You're completely different. You're the smart and quirky guy with a bow tie. You know what I mean? And he's the brash guy with his jean and t-shirt. It's completely like, you guys are not approaching the issue from the same angle. And the problem is, if you put a tag like Gary V, like saying, I'm going to put hashtag Oprah because I want people that like Oprah to like me. And I'm like, but it doesn't work because you're not anywhere close to Oprah or Gary V. Like you don't want that juice, because the chances are that people that like Gary V will go to Gary V and then they'll go to your video because they'll find you and they'll be like, who's this guy? That doesn't work for me, and then they'll bail. So it's completely counterproductive. Like, don't use tags to try to attach yourself to someone that's famous, or Kim Kardashian for that matter, if your content is not anywhere remotely close to what they're doing. It's got to be close. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be something, oh yeah, I would be a good suggestion after that guy because I'm close enough to him, but not completely opposite. Does that make sense? All right, great. So if you're going to be monitor your suggested videos, by the way, should be monitored between the 14th and the 120th day. Don't look at suggested videos, because it's not a trigger that is going to happen within the first 14 days that is going to make any sense. So it's after 14 days. So it's once a video is matured a little bit, then you can start to look at the suggested videos and how well a video is performing. All right, so I'm moving on to the third hack to grow your channel organically. The third hack is audience retention. Audience retention is, you get a graph like this in YouTube. It is telling you how long, the percentage of time that people are spending on your videos. You'll never get 100%, by the way. Okay, it's just not going to happen. I mean, you look at your own behavior. Do you watch all the videos 100% of the time? No, you don't. You just get what you get, and sometimes you get bored, or sometimes you just want to go and see something else, or you're distracted, the door rings, the dog barks, and you just move along. You just go and see something else. So you're not going to get 100%. But what you should be aiming, or the line in the sand, is at least 50%. 50%. For you to being able to be successful on YouTube, you have to have videos that are at least getting a 50% audience retention. Below that, you're not going to give signals to YouTube to have them suggest your video. Does that make sense? And then one of the things I want to show you, because I think this graph in that stat is really very interesting. If you look at your audience retention graph, there is a tool in the Beta Studio that actually shows you your audience retention with your video next to it. So you can actually look at your video as people are dropping, and you can actually see if you have a huge drop off, you can actually go at that moment and see what is going on. All right, the fourth hack to grow your channel organically, and it's impressions versus CTR. And CTR stands for click-through rate, and it's the percentage of click-through rate. Impression versus CTR is absolutely the bomb, right? This thing is absolutely amazing. This is how it looks like in the back end. It's basically giving you a funnel, and at the top of the funnel is the number of impressions. Number of impressions is 100% related to how YouTube is suggesting your content to people out there, right? So in that channel, YouTube has served that video to 622,000 times, which 68.8% of it was from suggested videos, right? And the click-through rate on that channel is 3.7%, which means that out of that 622,000, only 3.7% of people clicked on it, which resulted in over 22,000 views. That by itself is absolutely amazing in terms of stats, because this is telling you a whole bunch of stuff about a channel, about your channel or about your videos. It's telling you everything you need to serve. First of all, at the top, it's telling you how many times YouTube has served your videos to the audience. Second, right below that, it's telling you what the percentage of it that was suggested by YouTube. And the third thing is the click-through rate with the impressions. So how do you get more impressions? How do I increase my impressions on my videos? Well, first of all, you need to have an above 50% retention. Like, the more retention you have, the more you are above 50%, the more YouTube is going to recommend it. That makes sense, right? And if you have if you have 2.0 average view per user on your channel, that's how you get more impressions. So you want to increase your number of impressions, improve your retention, and improve your average views. And if you want a better CTR, a better click-through rate, you need to have awesome thumbnails and SEO title. The CTR is 100% related to the quality of your thumbnails. You want to increase your CTR, get better thumbnails. What is the goal for click-through rate? It's going to vary greatly based on your audience. So my truth for what my CTR is may not be your truth. You have to take that with a grain of salt. And at the end of the day, what you need to look at what is your CTR right now, and then improve it. So the goal for the CTR, I'm going to tell you that's my truth, and that may not maybe yours, but I think there are some things that are universal about that CTR. That between 5 to 10% is really good. That's what you want to do. By the way, the average on the screen that I showed you before was 3.7%. So there is some room for improvement. There is some work that needs to be done to get it above 5% for that specific channel. 10 to 20% is absolutely awesome. If you're getting a 10 to 20% CTR, like, you are absolutely killing it, especially if you're in a competitive space. That's off the chart. And anything above 20% is, oh my God. Your channel is on fire. Now, let me show you a thumbnail case study to kind of wrap up this presentation. Here is a thumbnail, how it was before and how I changed it. And the impact was that it increased the impressions by 157% over 30 days. All I did on that video was change the thumbnail. The only thing I did is I put her more prominent, me a little bit smaller, and got the text to pop a little bit with some boxes. That's what I did. On the left, this is a 5-minute thumbnail. On the right is probably a 45-minute thumbnail. And the difference is 157% increase in impressions over 30 days. And let's look at this one now. This is what it was, how to plan for a website with a little icon, and this is how I changed it on the right. 188% improvement in the CTR over 60 days. That's the impact of a thumbnail. So obviously on the right, just my face more prominent, you can see my eyes, you can connect with me, and it just pops, like the text is just, it's bigger, it's got some colors and whatnot, so it just makes it more attractive. Remember again that people, when they're looking at how to plan a website, they're going to get like 10, 20 choices in front of them. And I'm not necessarily going to be number one. I don't know what I am for that specific video, but I think I'm in the top 10. Right? So they're going to be making a decision based on thumbnail. So the difference between the one before and the one after is like, that's it, that's the deal. Now, there's no excuse for not having a great thumbnails. I know not everybody is actually gifted as a graphic designer. I am not. I'm not a designer. But you can go to Fiverr, and I just put YouTube thumbnails, and there are tons of people that are offering to do thumbnails as low as $5 a pop. Right, so there's really no excuse for you not to have a thumbnail. And there is another website that I just recently found. I'm not affiliated with either of them, but it's amazingcustomthumbnails.com. They actually have a monthly retainer type of deal. I don't remember how much it was. I think it's about $300, and then they give you 10 thumbnails. Again, it's another opportunity for you to get great thumbnails with people that have experience with it, without having you pulling your hair out and starting looking like me, because you don't want to look like Uncle Fester. Now, the formula, the secret formula for organic growth on YouTube. Here it is, a 4-step thing. This is it. Right? First of all, a decent video for the target audience. You need to have a decent video with good content. Second, you need to have a kick-ass thumbnail. Absolutely, unequivocally, your thumbnails have to be amazing. You need to SEO your title. Right? You absolutely have to do it, and you have to measure and track what matters. Subscribers is not the good measure. It's not about the subscribers. It's about everything else that we talked about tonight. Here is what I'm going to tell you about YouTube. The time to get started is right now. Don't wait. Because what's going to happen is you're going to see your idea about a video actually being published by someone else, and it's going to royally piss you off. Right? And then that's going to be your view. You're going to be behind the pack, not in front. So the time to get started is right now. And YouTube is by no means mature and done. I actually believe that we're just getting started with YouTube. It's really the beginning. And then really, quite honestly, if a French guy with a French accent that looks like Uncle Fester can have a viral video, well, so can you. That's it. Thank you.